Hey Colonial kids, it's so good to see you. Let's all stand up.
And put your left hand in, put your left hand out, put your left hand in, and shake it all about. That's what we're doing, right?
No, Jenna, we're gonna worship.
Oh, well in that case, everybody put your hands up.
Woo! Let's put our hands up, our hearts open, and sing to God.
When darkness tries to roll over my bones, sorrow comes to steal the joy I own. When brokenness and pain is all I know, oh, I won't be shaken. Oh, I won't be shaken. Come on, my fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. No shame no longer has a place to hide. I am not a captive to the lies. I'm not afraid to leave my past behind. No, I won't be shaken. No, I won't be shaken. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. I'm standing. There's power that can break off every chain. There's power that can empty out the grave. Resurrection. There's resurrection power that can save. There's power in your name. There's power in your name. There's power that can break off every chain. There's power that can empty out the grave. Resurrection. There's resurrection power that can save. There's power in your name. Power in your name. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. Oh, one more time. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love.
So, a friend of mine had his birthday last week, and me, being a great friend, got him a nice new shirt as a gift. Wrap it up, give it to him, he opens it up with excitement until he sees it's the wrong size. Man, what do I do? Aha, whip out my receipt, go to the store, exchange it for the correct size and re-give it to him. He was pumped. Now faith, it's a little like that. We've got all the promises of God in His Word, but we can't just hope something happens. We need to step out and do something. If you're taking notes today, the big point is we can have faith and trust in God. I've learned a lot about faith over the years, and I'm really excited today to share it with you. Number one, God is faithful. Having faith in God isn't about how good and how well we can trust Him. Our faith in Him is powerful because He is trustworthy. He is faithful, and He is never failing. We trust God because of who He is and what He has done for our lives. He loves you, has a plan for you, and is faithful to you. He's not going to leave at the first sign of trouble. He's not going to give up when things seem too hard, and He's not going to forget about you. He is faithful, and we can have faith and trust in Him. Hebrews 10:23 says, "Let us hold firmly to the hope we claim to have. The one who promised is faithful." Number 2, what don't you see? Can we see God? Do you know what God looks like? Can you see faith? Can you touch it? Hebrews 11 verse 1 reads, "Now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see." We might not be able to see God physically, but we can see what He does. We can feel the effect of Him working in our lives. While we can't see God in the flesh, we have faith in Him. We know we can trust Him. We can see Him throughout His Word, the Bible, taking care of His people and keeping His promise to them. We can see Him at work in the lives of our families, people at church, and all around the world. Having faith is trusting God to do what only He can do. God can do anything. When we can't see a way out, when we can't see the answers to our problems, when we can't see the miracle coming to pass, we can have assurance that God will take care of it. When we can't see a way, God makes a way. We can be certain of what we don't see. 2 Corinthians 5 verse 7, "For we live by faith, not by sight." Number 3, doing faith. Faith changes how we live our lives. Faith in action is living a life that is based on our faith in God. Faith is demonstrated in what we do. Saying you have faith in God to take care of you, now that is one thing. But to put that faith into action is when things happen. If someone says they have faith that God will help them make friends when they go to a new school, but they never speak to anyone and they hide, then they're not putting that faith into action. Faith is shown in our actions. James 2:26 says, "The body without the spirit is dead. In the same way, faith without good works is dead." Doing faith means that faith isn't just something that we say, but it's something we do. Put it into action and see God work in your life. Proverbs 3 verse 5 and 6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight." So when you go shopping, you get receipts. But when you follow Jesus, you get His word. This week, step out on the promises in the Bible.
Near the very start of the Bible, in the book of Genesis, we find this story about Abraham and Sarah, a grandma and a grandpa. God tells them that they would have a baby. Most grandparents don't have babies, but as we're about to find out, when God makes a promise, He delivers. God had spoken to Abraham when he was 75 years old and said, "Leave your country, your family, and your father's home for a land that I will show you. I'll make you a great nation and bless you." God takes Abraham outside and says, "Look up at the sky and count the stars, if indeed you can count them." Then He said to him, "So shall your offspring be." But Abraham and Sarah did not have children. How was God going to make their family into a great nation without a single child? It was a promise that seemed so outrageous, so beyond belief, that Abraham and his wife Sarah thought God must have been joking. But Abraham was a man of faith, and so he did just what God had told him. He had to have faith in God. Abraham and Sarah waited and waited and waited. Years passed by, and they didn't seem to be any closer to what God had promised them. With faith in God, they waited. They both went through a lot while this promise waited to be fulfilled. Made some bad choices that hurt others. Made good choices that helped others. But through it all, they trusted the promise of God. Sarah was now 90 years old, and Abraham was 100 years old. God spoke to Abraham and said, "I will bless Sarah. She will have a baby son, and you will call him Isaac." Ha ha ha, he laughed. Sarah laughed too. How could an old woman like me have a baby? But sure enough, God did keep his promise to Abraham and Sarah. They had a son at the exact time God had planned all along. This isn't really a story about Abraham and why he was so special. It's a story about God and why he is so special. Faith is trusting God to do what only God can do. We can have faith and trust in God. God keeps his promises.